Esta es una entrevista sin censura.
Hay que hablar de la elección de Eddie Johnson de manera unánime, esta ratificación en el Consejo Municipal como superintendente de la Policía de Chicago, y obviamente también hay que hablar de otros temas importantes para la ciudad con la concejal del Distrito 10, Susan Sadlowski Garza, a quien le agradezco mucho que nos acompañe. Susan, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for giving us this time to talk about these issues that are relevant for the community in Chicago. Let me start by asking you about your opinion about the elections to the local councils for the schools. I know you're committed to education. How important those elections are, and why are those important?
Well, you know, I sat on the local school council before I became an alderman, and I think that the local school council elections are very important. It gives the parents, it gives the teachers, and it also gives the community members a voice within their neighborhood school. I've seen very strong and really good local school councils, and I've seen some local school councils not so good, but it still lets people take an active role in their school.
And particularly in times when the mayor seems to say whatever he wants or whatever he thinks for our education system or Chicago public schools, I think it's important for the community to have that voice. I think that's the only avenue to have a voice.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, back in the days when the principal ruled the school and nobody knew what was going on, now there has to be accountability and transparency, and you know that's what city government should be, whether it's in a school or whether it's in city hall.
And as I said, in these times when the mayor appoints the board, appoints the chief of the Chicago Public Schools, when the mayor decides who is going to lead the Chicago Public Schools, it's very important. Until we have an elected board, we cannot take this lightly. These elections, I meant.
No, you're absolutely right, and people need to get out there in their high schools today and voice their opinion. If wherever you live in the city of Chicago, in your neighborhood, there's a high school where you can vote. You need to get out and vote. You only need to be 18 years old. You don't have to be registered. You don't have to be documented. You don't have to add nothing. You just need to get out and vote, and you're absolutely right. This is the only voice we have, and we need to keep pushing for an elected school board. We need to change the rules in Springfield so that we can have an elected school board in the city of Chicago. 89% of the people in the city of Chicago voted for an elected school board. 89%.
That's right. And let me ask you, Susan, about Eddie Johnson, now superintendent of police in Chicago. How in the world the council voted unanimously to approve what the mayor presented as an option? A person that didn't even apply for the job gets the job. How in the world, Susan?
Well, you know, I agree with you 100%. And in committee on Tuesday, in Public Safety Committee, I voiced those concerns. And I don't have a problem with the person. I have a problem with the process. This process has been in place since 1960. This has never happened before. No one has ever just been appointed. I have a problem with the process. I think we should have followed the process. And some aldermen argued that, you know, these are extenuating circumstances, and these are, you know, historic times in the city of Chicago. But the process was put in place for us to follow. We can't just keep changing the rules to meet the mayor's expectations. I don't think that's right.
And explain then, how is it that the vote was unanimous?
Well, once something passes committee, when it comes to the floor of city council, all of the debate is done within committee. So when it comes to city council, it's pretty much a done deal already. All of the debating and all of the arguing and going back and forth happens within committees. And that happened on Tuesday.
Yeah, but Susan, explain to our audience. In committee, you criticize the process, but at the end, we voted yes on this election as a superintendent of Eddie Johnson.
Right. Well, the process was questioned on Tuesday. I don't have a vote on Tuesday because I do not sit on the Public Safety Committee, but I attended that meeting because I wanted my voice to be known that I was against the way the process went down. I don't have a problem with Eddie Johnson. I spoke to many, many, many police officers in the city of Chicago. They respect Eddie Johnson. Eddie Johnson rose through the ranks. He grew up in Cabrini Green. He made his way to the top position in the Chicago Police Department through hard work, dedication, and the police officers of Chicago love him, and so does the clergy, and so does every other entity in the city of Chicago. So I think Eddie Johnson was put in the middle here. I don't want to blame Eddie Johnson for the process that went down because that wasn't him. I wish he would have applied, and we would never be having this conversation. I think he's the right man for the job. I just don't believe the process went the way it should have. That's it.
And what will be? How can we understand the message that the mayor is sending? No matter how much money we spent finding the three candidates that he had, and saying no, I'm going with whatever I say. What's the message of this mayor?
Well, that's why I had a problem with the process. You're absolutely right, but I don't know what the mayor was thinking because I can't read his mind. I don't know. Again, I was against the process. I think we should have went back to the drawing board.
Yeah, but what I mean, Susan, is this seems like a disrespectful decision by the mayor to all of the residents of Chicago that are paying with their taxes the process to look for these candidates, even though I didn't agree with those last three candidates, top candidates, but the mayor cannot just act like a dictator.
A dictator. I was just going to use that word, and you know it's funny because the words that you're using are the exact words I used on Tuesday when I spoke out against this decision of skirting around the process. I said I feel this is very disrespectful, not just to the people of Chicago, but very disrespectful to the police board that picked this candidate. You know, one of the things that I think is very important for us to understand is we need to go back to the drawing board and look at this process and see if it pertains. Maybe we need to change the process because if the mayor gets to appoint, you know, whoever he wants, then maybe we need to go back and change the process so we're not wasting $550,000 to look for somebody when Mayor Emanuel gets to have the last say in it anyway. You know, there's been talk about going back and changing the process now, making amendments and, recommendations to, the ordinance. So, I think that's what we need to do.
Estamos hablando con Susan Sadlowski Garza, concejal del Distrito 10. I know you're busy, and let me ask to close. What do you think about the findings of this task force on CPD, on Chicago Public Department, and Chicago Police Department? I'm sorry. What do you think about the findings?
I am very. We all knew that this existed, and I think for the findings to come out and verbally admit that these things are actually there is a breakthrough. I really do, because we all knew that they existed. Nobody was talking about them. So now we're talking about them. So now let's move forward. Let's get past it, and let's help this city heal. We have to. This is crazy. I mean, our murder rates our shooting rates are up 88%. We can't keep doing this. hopefully moving forward, admitting the wrongs, facing it head on and tackling those issues. And now we have a new police superintendent in play. Now we can get back to business as usual and heal from this. We have to. We can't keep going on the path we're on.
Can we say as residents that you guys, politicians, the mayor, the superintendent, got no more excuses?
Oh, no, absolutely not. No more excuses. We can't. It's done. People are done with excuses. I think people have been done with excuses for a long, long time, and I'm very proud of the way that Chicago is rising up and saying enough. I really am. I think it's about time. You know, what do they say? The revolution has begun, right?
Okay. Well, Susan, we leave it there, and we thank you for your time, and hopefully we can have more opportunities.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Susan Sadlowski Garza, la concejal del Distrito 10, hablando de cómo es que el superintendente de la Policía de Chicago, Eddie Johnson, fue ratificado de manera unánime en el Consejo Municipal. Nadie quiere asumir los costos. ¿Cómo es posible que todo el mundo criticó el proceso de Rahm Emanuel y al final le aplauden, le benefician con un voto a favor de Eddie Johnson como superintendente de la Policía de Chicago? Y no estoy hablando del hombre, estoy hablando de cómo el alcalde se sale con la suya y le ofrece el trabajo y le da el trabajo a alguien que ni siquiera solicitó la chamba. Y bueno, lo que me refería a la última pregunta es que este grupo independiente de investigación señala que hay una plaga de racismo y falta de rendición de cuentas dentro del Departamento de Policía de Chicago. Algo que tenemos que analizar sin pelos en la lengua, sin censura, si me permite. Continuamos y regresamos con mucho más.
Llévanos a todas partes. En tu teléfono, en tu tableta, en tu computadora o en tu televisión inteligente, a través de nuestro canal en la aplicación de YouTube Sin Censura Media. Información al minuto, a donde quiera que vayas. A donde quiera que vayas. O si lo prefieres, sintoniza el 750 AM en todo Chicago y suburbios de Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana y Iowa. Para hablar sin pelos en la lengua, somos los únicos. Sin Censura.